lemon slicers that Joseph used to survive and thrive through the hardest times of his life are really starting to add up. There's L for love, E for express it, M for meaning, and now today we arrive at O, or offer forgiveness. Remember how when Joseph was the king's right-hand man and was given a lot of really great stuff? Well, one of the gifts that he was given was a wife, and God blessed him with 2 sons. The names Joseph chose for his 2 sons tells us a lot about the healing that God brought into Joseph's life long before he even came back in contact with his brothers. Joseph named his first son Manasseh, which in Hebrew means forgot. Joseph chose the name because he said, God has made me forget all the troubles that I had in my father's house. This is evidence that even before Joseph was back in contact with his brothers, he had already forgiven them. Did you know that you could forgive someone even if they weren't interested in making up? What did Joseph mean by forgetting his troubles? Did it mean that he got hit on the head so hard that he forgot? Well, of course that's not what forget means here. Joseph certainly remembered the events that had occurred, and he would remember them for the rest of his life. But what Joseph meant about forgetting those hard things was that he had to let go of, or he forgot, any grudge that he may have had, or any desire to take revenge on them for what they had done to him. In the end, what it means to forgive someone is to erase the matter, and just let God take care of it. And in naming his first son, Forgot, we know that Joseph was saying, I forgive my brothers, and I let go of any grudge or any desire to have revenge on them. But to forgive someone, let go of a grudge or a desire to take revenge is not the same thing as reestablishing a relationship as it was before. I mean, certainly Joseph wanted this, but he had to figure out a way to see if they were still jealous and hateful men. After thinking about it, he decided he would do some observing by how they treated his youngest brother, Benjamin. And Benjamin was the one who was closest to Joseph. So Joseph said to them, if you are truly not spies, go back and bring me this younger brother of yours that you mentioned. That way, I can verify your story. So, until you come back with him, I will keep one of you here in Egypt with me. Because by keeping a brother here with him, Joseph was going to make sure that they would return. It was a long ride from Canaan to Egypt, about 1,000 miles round trip. So by the time the brothers arrived back in Egypt, you can be sure that they were pretty saddle sore. What a sight it must have been for Joseph to see Benjamin again after all those years. Joseph told his staff to prepare a great banquet for his brothers. But when it came to serve the food, Joseph had instructed the servers to make sure that Benjamin's portions were 5 times larger than the others. When the brothers saw this, they were surprised at it, but Joseph noticed that they continued to eat freely with Benjamin. No jealousy. So far, so good. But the real test was yet to come. The next morning, when the men were all packed up, their donkeys were loaded with bags bursting with grain. But Joseph instructed his steward to secretly place Joseph's special silver chalice or cup into Benjamin's bag. The brothers had no idea that the cup had been put in Benjamin's bag when they started off on their long journey. Joseph waited for a little bit. Then he sent his steward after them. Catching up to them, he said, Why have you repaid my master evil for good? One of you has stolen my master's special silver chalice." The brothers looked at each other with shock. "We have not stolen it. Please, look in our bags. If you find it, the person whose bag you find it in will be your master's slave forever." They said this because they were sure that none of them had stolen it. Starting from the bag of the oldest to the youngest, the steward finally got to Benjamin's bag. When he opened it, there was the chalice. The brothers could not believe their eyes. Resigned to their fate, they all climbed back on their donkeys and returned with the steward to Egypt. This was already progress. I mean, the brothers of 20 years before would have just sent Benjamin on back to his own fate. Appearing before Joseph, his brother Judah approached the stern prince and said, "Look, your cup was in our brother Benjamin's bag. But if we return to our aged father without Benjamin, it will kill him. Please, allow me to stay here as slave in his place." When Joseph heard this, he knew that the hearts of these men had truly changed, and that they weren't the same men who had betrayed him so many years ago. As we saw in the previous chapter, Joseph broke down in tears and identified himself to his brothers. He told them that he had forgiven them, and he introduced him to his oldest son, Manasseh, or forgot. The brothers then understood that Joseph truly had forgotten long ago the offense between them. The story reminds us that we can forgive someone even if they don't want to be forgiven, or even if they're not around to talk with. But that picking up a relationship can be another step altogether. Wow, Joseph sure was a great lemonade maker.